Alright, peace, 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 beautiful soul. I hope that you're doing well, and I just want to start off by expressing my appreciation to you for your understanding, your patience, and, working with me. That's what I'm saying. Now, I'm finally, after, all that happened, I'm finally now in a position where I'm kind of more stable and grounded, so I'll be able to do this video, and I'm very excited, right? And so today what we are going to be doing is we're going to be breaking down the rest of your houses. Previously we discussed the 1st to the 7th, the 1st to the 6th. Today we'll be talking about the 7th to the 12th, right? So the first thing we're going to be discussing is the 7th house. So I wanna explain the 7th house by kind of giving a comparison or showing the contrast between the opposing house of the 7th, right, which is the ascendant, the rising sign. So when it comes to the ascendant and the rising sign, this is more like your energy as an individual, right? The first house deals with your personality and your personal life in general. It deals with how it is that you progress in this life, in a sense. Because the first house kind of has a relation to the 10th house, in the sense that the first house is you as the person and like your abilities and your skills and things like that. But then the 10th house is the area in life that you find yourself being given a platform, you know what I'm saying, to like attain like recognition and status and some sort of reputation, you know what I mean? Because that's what the 10th house is all about. And so yeah, that the reason why the 10th and the 1st have that relation is because like your ability to progress in the 10th house, which is the environment of life where you get reputation and status, is highly dependent on how much you develop your first house. That's what I'm saying. Your first house energy. How much you develop yourself as a person. How much like personal development you do. Like anything that deals with personal energies is the first house. Right now, the 7th house is the descendant, right? And this is kind of like the shadow aspect of self. In the sense that the 7th house most definitely is naturally connected to Libra, the sign of relationships, the sign of marriage. The 7th house is the house of marriage, you know what I'm saying? But furthermore, the 7th house, being like the descendant, it has like the shadowy energy, right? The ascendant is like where the sun, right? The sun rising on the horizon. Like that's what the rising sign is, where the sun was rising when you were born. But the descendant is more like opposite to that, you know what I'm saying? And so it's a shadow. And it's the shadow aspect of ourselves that we kind of neglect, deny, or push away. Neglect, deny, and push away, rather, I should say. These are aspects of us that we, in a sense, it's interesting because, okay, there are certain attributes and qualities within the 7th house that, kind of help us have an awareness of what we are attracted to. Not so much what we are attracted to, but what attracts to us. And there's a slight difference right there, you know what I'm saying? And the 7th house, I've already mentioned how it kind of deals with those certain attributes and qualities of ourselves that we kind of, by the way, I hope that the fan is not too loud, not too bad. But furthermore, aside from signifying those shadow aspects of ourselves that we kind of neglect, or that we may project outwardly, the 7th house also deals with those close personal relationships, that we get into. And so, for this reason, it's like the 7th and the 1st house have this impact on each other, you know what I'm saying? All the houses have impacts on each other, especially the 7th and the 1st. that is that, of course, right, like the relationships you get into impact you personally, but furthermore, it's like when you are attracted into a relationship, right, 7th house energy, you are functioning in that relationship according to the 7th house and the ruler of the 7th house, etc. And we'll get into all of that soon. And you have your 7th house in Capricorn. Hold on, sorry. I kind of went blank, but now I remember what I was gonna say. So essentially, those people that we get into relationships with, you know what I'm saying, they're really reflective to our descendants or aspects of ourselves that we kind of neglected and or let go. Now, your 7th house is in Capricorn, meaning that your 7th house ruler is Saturn. And you have Saturn, I am sure, in Scorpio in the 5th house. So first and foremost, the first thing I want to talk about is this. Capricorn is a sign that opposes the moon, right? The opposite sign to Capricorn is Cancer. Capricorn is very like dry, very cutthroat, you know, very dry, very cutthroat, and emotionalist, very reserved, right? Capricorn is the sign of like business, if that makes sense. Capricorn is the sign of business, CEO, and it's the last Earth sign. Being the last Earth sign, Capricorn deals with all things that deal with this physical world, right? Capricorn deals with status, reputation, physical reputation, so like acquiring a bunch of money and all that good stuff. Now, with you having your ascendant in Saturn, see, the thing about Saturn is Saturn brings hardship, Saturn brings trials and tribulations, right? Like Saturn is the planet that manifests time, manifests restrictions and limitations. An interesting fact, right, about the way that the planets relate to each other. Beyond Saturn is like truly the heavenly realm, like the celestial world, spiritual world, right? But everything within the boundary of Saturn deals with this world, deals with the Earth. That is, Saturn is like a boundary, right? And then after Saturn, the planet Uranus is what comes after Saturn ends, if that makes sense. And so Saturn just deals with the physical reality, you know, it deals with the things of the Earth. And the reason why I bring that up is because with you having your 7th house in Capricorn, you may find yourself not getting into relationships, but like the relationships you engage in being one way or another revolved around some form of material. Hold on, before I say that. Yeah, some form of material like security, maybe some form of like shared resources, etc. Right? And so where I'm pulling this from is the fact that, right, as I'm sure you're aware, the 5th house is the house of offspring, right? We'll say offspring and children, right? Which highlights personal relationships amongst children, of course, most definitely, but your relationships, those intimate romantic, well, for us to look into that, we'd have to look at Venus. I mean, you have Venus in the 2nd house, which indicates that if you have Venus in the 2nd house, which you have a stellium in the 2nd house, it kind of indicates that money, you know what I'm saying, is something that you're good at, or you put a lot of focus. You definitely put a lot of. All right, so you have Mercury and Mars conjunct each other, which kind of just means that you're the type of person who puts action behind your thoughts, what you think. But not to get sidetracked, the reason why I started looking at that, your chart, was because I want to look at Venus. Because Venus specifically deals with your ability, the moon and Venus deal with your ability to attract like a mate as a woman, you know what I'm saying? But we'll get into that later though. Anyways, there can be, okay, because the upside to the energy of Capricorn, which is in your 7th house, is diplomacy, right? Diplomacy meaning the ability to intelligently navigate through a relationship, you know, an ability to kind of know how to play the cards, right? And like I mentioned earlier, Capricorn has this business energy about it, you know, so there may just be manifested this energy of like responsibilities is one of the things that can manifest in the 7th house, right? Like maybe getting into a relationship with someone and then kind of feeling like they're a duty or an obligation, you know what I'm saying? Like shit just kind of getting heavy. And sometimes you may find yourself getting into situationships where it's all about using a person. And I feel like I phrased that wrong because, okay, the key phrase for Capricorn is I use, right? Capricorn is all about utility, using the opportunities around it to its fullest advantage, right? So that's why I bring up utilization, you know? So there's just this energy of like using, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm not trying to say that you're a person who uses people, but it's just that you may have this ability to manage people better than they can manage themselves, from a perspective of being able to see a person's abilities, right? And seeing opportunities for them that they may not see themselves. It's like, especially in close relationships. Like, you also have that moon in Aries, right? Which kind of helps me reaffirm this. He said, although you have that rising in Cancer, which is an emotional sign, I feel like that moon in Aries, you know, combined with that descendant in Capricorn, could make you like rather lacking in emotion, you know what I'm saying? Sorry, hold on, okay, look, you have 5 placements in the water signs, and then you have 6 placements in the fire signs. You have I don't think it'd be just for me to say that you're not really an emotional person, you know, because certain things in your chart show contrary, right? For sure. But anyways, to wrap up and conclude with the 7th house. The 7th house in Capricorn energy is like very valuable and important to learn how to work with the energy of Saturn, but especially correlated towards relationships. So for instance, being aware of the responsibilities that may come with those personal relationships that you may have, and maybe doing things to make sure that you are ready for those responsibilities to come, or finding ways to like dismantle those responsibilities, you know what I'm saying? And also, I also want to say this as well. When it comes to Capricorn, Saturn and Capricorn, not Saturn and Capricorn, 7th house in Capricorn. It is like a square as well, because Libra and Capricorn don't really mesh, you know, they don't really mix. And so Libra strives for like connection, especially mental connection with another person. Meanwhile, Capricorn strives for like material dominance, you know what I'm saying? And like like stability and security. And so I guess the downfall here is that sometimes selfish endeavors may overtake sacrificial endeavors in relationships. Simply put, Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, is a rather selfish sign. But I also want to say this, like I mentioned earlier, the first and the seventh house are opposing each other, The first house is like you as a person, but the seventh house is like the experiences you have in relationships. But it's like, although it's the experiences you have in relationships, it's valuable to be aware that everything is really a reflection, right, of your mind and you, especially also the people that you get into relationships with. And with you just have all this Capricorn energy to deal with in that area. You feel me? In that area. And we'll talk a little bit more about this when we get into when we get into the planets and we talk about Saturn. Yeah, for sure. But next we'll look into your 8th house. Okay, so your 8th house is in Aquarius, right? Aquarius is in your 8th house. And Saturn also rules your 8th house. And then Uranus co-rules your 8th house, and Uranus is in Sagittarius in the 6th house. Okay, so first and foremost, to get into this discussion, I hope that I did an okay job previously explaining to you specifically that the birth chart is a two-dimensional mapping of like your astral body, or like your subconscious mind, you know what I'm saying? And as we're looking at these different areas, like we just got done talking about the 7th house, and really we just got done talking about those influences and thought forms that exist in your mind where personal relationships are involved. And we just concluded it was Saturnian. It may be rather negative than positive, but it is something, because Capricorn is a sign that deals with reputation and status and eventually getting something to show for it, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel like with the 7th house in Capricorn, it doesn't all have to be trial and tribulation, but it's more like through practical steps getting a suitable relationship, you know what I'm saying? Like, see, the water signs should follow the path of connection, but from an emotional standpoint, you know what I'm saying? Or a spiritual standpoint. The fire signs, that's all passion, you know what I'm saying? It's all about, that is like the path that they'll take when love is involved, the passion. The air signs, we want that connection, that intellectual connection, you know what I'm saying? Ability to communicate with someone, all that good stuff. But then when it comes to the earth signs, they kind of are willing to settle with what is practical, what just makes sense, you know what I'm saying? And that's the 7th house of Capricorn. So this may even mean that a lot of your relationships, personal relationships, may be mechanical. And I don't think that was the right term, right? Practical, meaning they have practical uses. Yeah, anyways, now let's get into the 8th house. Your 8th house is in Aquarius, right? So with your 8th house being in Aquarius, first and foremost, what is the 8th house? The 8th house is a house of death. It's the house of it's the house of death, but it's also the house of transformation. And being associated with Pluto, it's also the house of corrosion, which is another way of saying death. The difference between death and corrosion is when something corrodes, it slowly is chipped away at, continuously, right? And so the 8th house is that aspect of our being that is negative, right? It's the aspect of our being that kind of deals with our stress, rather than saying stress, our traumas, our worries, you know what I'm saying? This is a house of Scorpio, a sign of mystery, a sign that's connected with psychology as well, and the revelation, you know what I'm saying, of what's in the dark. So when it comes to this house, this is where we may may find this is where certain like just inconsistencies may manifest. Inconsistencies in that energy, because when it comes to the energy of Scorpio, which is manifested in the energy of the 8th house, the Scorpio.
You say you'll never join the Navy.
Never track storms in the Atlantic. Or skydive as part of your commute.
Joining the Navy sounds crazy. Saying never actually is. Learn why.
I can't even skip this ad.
America's Navy. Forged by this.
Sorry. Hopefully it goes back. Okay. But yeah, so as I was saying, the 8th house, Scorpio energy, the constellation of Scorpio developed in that space of the 8th house. Now, I know that I was going to make a point, but let's just put that to the side because I really forgot the point I was going to make about the 8th house being Scorpio. So, yeah, this house, amongst dealing with like death, transformation, corrosion, psychology, limiting beliefs, you know what I'm saying? This is also a house that deals with power and control, things like that. Now, Aquarius is a sign of, it's the last sign, it's a sign of the third emanation, you know what I'm saying? It belongs to the last manifestation of the elements. Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces are the elements in their final form. And that's why those are the last 4 signs. When it comes to Aquarius, Aquarius deals with the end result of the air element when it's all said and done, you know what I'm saying? And so Aquarius deals with the collection of information, right? It deals with databases, and things like that. It also deals with groups of people. And Aquarius, I meant to say, rules humanity at large, you know what I'm saying? Like everything has a rulership. A planet that rules over it, a sign that rules over it, or a house that rules over it. When it comes to humanity, we are ruled by the planet Uranus and the planet Uranus, the planet Saturn, and the sign Aquarius. Furthermore, when it comes, so before I proceed, 8th house and Aquarius, right? Sharing what I just shared. One thing that this could mean is that, well, it's not going to be so much negative things, but more so positive things, because you have Jupiter, right, the planet of spirituality and religion, within your 8th house. And wherever Jupiter manifests in the chart, right, wherever Jupiter is placed in the chart, that manifests abundantly in a good way, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, abundantly in a good way. So, with Jupiter being in the 8th house, Jupiter is the planet of experience. It's the planet of expansion as well, but we expand through our experiences, right? This may just be an indication when you have Jupiter in the 8th house that a lot of the experiences you grew from and expanded from were experiences where you may have been in positions, possibly in relationships where you had to struggle with power and control, circumstance and issues. But Jupiter being here, right, like this is like people going through shit, pardon my language, but understanding that I'm going through this, but there's a higher purpose, a higher reason behind this experience that I'm going through. And it's the same thing with you having that 8th house, that Jupiter in the 8th house. It's like going through some crazy shit, like having experiences with death. People's close people dying. You know what I'm saying? All that good stuff. Why did I say all that good stuff? All of that. It's because I'm trying to push these words out of my head. Yeah, but it's like in those experiences, finding expansion and really finding like freedom as well. Whoa, okay. So Aquarius in the 8th house energy manifests in like, so Aquarius deals with society, right? The 8th house deals with traumas, or traumas or tabooish things, you know what I'm saying? Now, Aquarius in the 8th house, there can be like this sort of energy of like being hated upon to an extent for being so different and unique. And I'll explain this interpretation. So Aquarius deals with people, but Aquarius is not Pisces. Because Pisces also deals with people, but it deals with the collective subconscious. Aquarius deals with the collective conscious, right? It deals with libraries and things like that. But in general, Aquarius deals with society from a physical standpoint and an intellectual standpoint as well, you know. Meanwhile, Pisces deals with society from the spiritual standpoint of the emotional end. Now, the 8th house denotes some sort of like pain, right? Some sort of like, some sort of pain, some sort of like despair also, you know what I'm saying? That you need to learn to renew and put depth to. And that energy of the 8th house is entangled with society and with people, with groups of people. So maybe what this could mean is maybe like a lack of people skills. Hold on, because I remember conversating with you, and I think you told me, you know what? Rather than what you told me, let me look at your chart. I mean, look, you have your Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars. One, two, three, four. You have 4 planets in personal houses. So you're a very personal individual. You know what I'm saying? You are type to keep to yourself, not be so social. Which also which I guess reaffirms what I was saying about the 8th house and Aquarius energy. But it's like, the energy of the 8th house doesn't have to be all bad, you know what I'm saying? Positively, this is a house of healing, you know, like it's psychological healing, especially when I look at Aquarius being there, because Aquarius is also a sign that deals with, because it deals with humanity, it deals with human nature, and it also deals with psychology. Being an air sign as well, that makes sense, right? And so this is like the healing of the masses is mine, if that makes sense. But I think to really interpretate this, rather than saying the healing of the masses is mine, as in you healing the masses is mine, this may have manifested as certain societal norms, maybe, or whatever, because we gotta, you know, take into consideration society. It may have traumatized you, and you may have to look at the way that you relate with society the way that you relate with society, and try to find like, okay, because we also have Jupiter there, you know what I'm saying? But I kind of want to leave this up for discussion, because I would kind of like to build and talk with you about this. So I'll kind of conclude the 8th house and we'll get back to it later. But I'll finish up by saying this. The 8th house in Aquarius, Jupiter configuration can make a person very psychic. Now I also want to mind you this. When it comes to your birth chart, it's not per se, to an extent, it's who you are, but it's more so what you are capable of and what things are possible if you apply yourself. You know what I'm saying? So meaning that just because someone has an alignment in the stars that say that they are going to be wealthy, doesn't per se mean that they will be wealthy unless they work at it. You know what I'm saying? It just means that you have this like building that you can occupy, but as long as you're just aware of that building, you don't go inside of it and you don't like, you know, fix it up or whatever, then it's irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? It's just there. But anyways, that like the 8th house Aquarius energy and Jupiter can make you for a psychic individual, right? Because Jupiter expands, right? You know what I'm saying? Jupiter expands. So, oh no, don't fall. Oh well, it fell, so it is what it is. So it's like, sorry. God damn, now I got some shit all over my head. Yeah, I really do apologize about that. But as I was saying though, Jupiter expands, you know what I'm saying? That's what Jupiter does. I think that's what I was saying. Yeah, Jupiter expands. And what Jupiter is expanding is 8th house energy, which is trials and tribulations. So, what I would recommend is learning to harness the power that comes from the experiences that you have in your life. You know what I mean? The power that comes from the experiences you have in your life. Jupiter deals with the experiences you have in your life. The 8th house deals with power and control. And Aquarius deals with your experiences with people, but not so intimately. With people that can be through this, for example. Well, this is more of 7th house. This is a little bit more personal, you know what I'm saying? It could be with people, through books, through a video you watch of someone that you don't even know, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be intimate, but yeah, that's what Aquarius is, like those distant relative people. And one of the ways that this can manifest, to give an example, is like becoming some sort of manager over people, right? Some sort of influencer over society. Because 8th house in Aquarius can hint towards, 8th house in Aquarius and Jupiter can hint towards like secret societies, you know what I'm saying? I have like your chart right here on the TV. Okay, so yeah, I'll leave that open up for discussion on the good stuff though, you know what I'm saying? So later, if you have any questions, I'll happily answer them. Okay, so I know that give me a second. I think that you have, I'm pretty sure that we talked about how you had both how you had both 2nd house and the 3rd house in the sign Leo. Yeah, it's the same pace with your 8th and 9th house. Both your 8th and your 9th house are in the sign Aquarius. So first and foremost, with you having Pisces, my bad, not Pisces, but you having Aquarius in your 9th house. The 9th house is the house of the higher mind, right? Especially Sagittarius. But the ninth house in general is the house of the higher mind, because the third house is the house of the lower mind, lower education. You know what I'm saying? So the ninth house is so naturally associated with the sign Jupiter. Also, I forgot to talk about certain things about your 8th house, because I didn't correlate the 8th house with Saturn. Like I said, we'll talk about that when we talk about the planets. But one thing I will say is that all that 8th house I was talking about, it does also relate to your 5th house, you know, right, which is like offsprings, one's how one passes time. 5th house is like how one entertains themselves, if that makes sense. But more significant, right, it's like the offsprings. So yeah, you know, the Saturn in Scorpio in the 5th house is correlated to the 8th house energy. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not so influential, because a planet is more influential to a house when it's in that house, you know. So Saturn actually rules your 5th house. Sorry, no it doesn't. Wait, yes it does. Saturn actually rules your 5th house, for the reason that Saturn is the only planet in your 5th house. You have your South Node, you have your Vortex, and you have your Pot of Fortune in your 5th house, but those aren't planets, right? So Saturn, being a planet, it has the greatest influence. So it's ruling over your 5th house. So Saturn's energy manifests tremendously in that area of your life, the 5th house, right? Which is many things, of which offsprings is one of. It's also a house of speculation, you know, to speculate, you know, whether that be like the stock market or psychicism, you know, to an extent psychicism. Anyways, to get into the 9th house now. Your 9th house being in Aquarius, right? This is a house where study is very significant, very important and valuable, right? So the 9th house, and I know you tell me that you're a person who just studies and studies and studies, and so I'll break it down for you, because the 9th house indeed is a house that deals with research. It's a house that deals with books. It's the house of religion, spirituality, you know what I'm saying? Just philosophy and anything that deals with the higher mind. The 9th house is the house of long journeys, to which, with you having your 9th house in Aquarius, the long journeys for you that you take may deal with the mind, mentally. So going into a mental journey through reading a book or something like that, you know what I'm saying? Or it can play out through you having to travel distances to meet with people, right? That also is another thing, because a person has the ability to change our minds, you know, and the mind and the thoughts and things like that are things of the air element. Really, all the elements contribute to the mind, you know, to keep it simple in our case. Yeah. So with you having the 9th house in Aquarius, Aquarius is like the sign. It's very open, very receptive, you know, it's very open-minded, right? Aquarius is a sign that deals with humanity, it deals with nations, you know, so everything that we humans have attained, even though from our human perspective we separate it, all together, collectively, we are together under the energy of Aquarius. Okay, and sorry, I know I had a point that I was gonna make by bringing that up with the Aquarius energy. Right. And so because Aquarius kind of just governs all humanity, there's this universal energy about the Aquarius energy, right? And this is how your 9th house energy manifests. So again, as we're looking at the chart, we're looking at different compartments of the mind, you know. And it's like every compartment within your mind is responsible for attracting certain experiences into your life. You know what I mean? And previously on the first video, we talked about the first to the seventh house, the first to the sixth house, right? I should say. And this is more of your personal life and the energies that are drawn to that. Now we're talking about the public life. We just finished talking about the relationships. I talked about how Saturnian energy is drawn there. We talked about your 8th house. It's the same case, Saturnian energy. And now we're talking about your 9th house. So the reason why I brought up the fact that Aquarius rules over humanity collectively is because it's best for you to embrace, because the 9th house is the house of one's philosophy, one's religion. Like, we all have at our core a religion, and that is denoted by our the ethics and morals that we are willing to live by and die by. You know what I'm saying? And at the core of every single person, no matter if you're like a drug addict on the streets or a billionaire, you have some form of religion that kind of governs your conscience. You know what I'm saying? Like even like a cartel person has some sort of ethical, moral conduct, and it may be very, but that's like the 9th house.
Need inspiration? Shop Fry's for over 30,000 mouth-watering choices with savings beyond low prices, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week, and up to $1 off per gallon.
The reason I bring all that up is to understand that one, you must really double down on the acquisition of knowledge. Just like, because this is your chart, you have naturally already gravitated towards the field of study and the field of learning and understanding. And now, and even when you were doing it, I'm sure that a lot of the study was related to spiritual things. Now, with this awareness that it's your 9th house, right, I would recommend studying things and acquiring knowledge, because the key phrase for Aquarius is knowledge, and its affirmation is I know. You know what I'm saying? Acquiring knowledge and knowingness, but from the perspective of building one's viewpoint on life, building one's quote-unquote religion, one's philosophy revolving about life. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so next. Hold on. It's important that you connect and network with people. You know what I'm saying? It's important that you put yourself out there to talk and engage with people and connect with people and all that good stuff. And that's from the vantage point of developing your 9th house. You know what I'm saying? There's a place and time for everything, of course. So there's a place and time for that. But there's and what I'm trying to break down, what I'm trying to explain is that with all that 3rd house energy, you're probably, with all that 2nd and 3rd house energy in your chart, you're probably a person who sticks to themselves, sticks to their personal life, deals with their finances, make sure their money's straight, deals with their value, because the 2nd house is more than just money. The 2nd house is the house that deals with value in general, whether it's family that is of value to you, whether it's possessions that you value, people that you value, you know what I'm saying? It's just the house of value in general. So that's what you kind of revolve your life around primarily, your value and what you value in life. But then when it comes to the 9th house, that can help enhance your where it is that you invest a good amount of energy into. That's what I'm trying to hold on. Because the sun, right? Because the sun deals with where it is that you invest the most energy into, which is your 9th house, your 3rd house, my bad, your 3rd house. Your 3rd house. And your 3rd house is opposed to your 9th house. That's why I said 9th. This is in my head. So the 3rd house is more remote. Not remote. It's more immediate thinking. You know what I'm saying? The 3rd house deals with those thoughts that deal with our immediate environment. You hear a sound, you start thinking about that sound, right? You see something, you start thinking about that thing. It's thoughts that are mundane, thoughts that are of this world. Whereas the ninth house deals with thoughts that extend beyond you as a human and that go into you as a soul, you know what I'm saying? And now, of course, the third house is the house of curiosity. So curiosity will eventually lead you to that energy of like understanding your soul and all that good stuff. But I also say this for you, to you though. Like you having that Jupiter in Aquarius in the 8th house makes the greatest difference. Okay, not only Jupiter in the 8th house in Aquarius, but you having Saturn and Mars makes the greatest difference for you not completely being a mundane person. Like Saturn and Mars kind of drives an individual towards the exploration of the unknown and the exploration of mysteries, but it's kind of more as a result of them maybe having gotten like, okay, maybe having been deceived and like, hold on. Okay, I can kind of, yeah, I can see that. Maybe having been deceived by authority, because that's what Saturn is. Saturn deals with authority figures, you know what I'm saying? And Scorpio, amongst the things, other things it rules, it also rules deceptive, being deceived and manipulated, and being controlled over. And Saturn rules over being controlled over too. So there may have been this manifestation of being led towards darkness, and then eventually just wanting revelation and wanting to know it, all that there is to know, you know what I'm saying, if that makes sense. Because Saturn deals with trials and tribulations, and that's what the trial for that is Saturn and Scorpio. Being kept in the dark and then going through all this, and then the solution being the light. We'll get more into Saturn later. I don't want to get too deep into the planets right now, you know, because that's time consuming. Yeah, I mean, we're already almost to an hour. But anyways, yeah, you know, it's pretty much like the 9th house. There's definitely value in understanding humanity as well. The history, understanding humanity, understanding like the origin and the history of humanity, you know, understanding what you as a man, oh my god, so a woman, no, take no offense, but it's because like mankind, you know what I'm saying, that's kind of what I meant. Anyways, you know what I mean though. So, you know, just understanding these things, like the origin of man, right, who and what we are as man, you know, mankind, right, our abilities and our capacities, all of that, you know, and learning to become cosmic and not just mundane, because Aquarius is actually the sign that rules over astrology through Uranus. Uranus rules astrology, but Aquarius is the sign that's associated with astrology. And astrology is the study of the stars. Astrology is cosmic, right? It's all about the cosmos. So the religion for Aquarius is one that deals with outer space. But outer space is not like what I mean, okay? Because even if we were to get off of this planet and go up into the space, we would just have to see more and more and more and more of the material, the physical, right? There's nothing but the physical world outside. It's the external world. Although I said the religion for Aquarius would be something to do with the celestial or the cosmos, I'm more referencing the spiritual world, you know what I'm saying? The spiritual world that gives like reason to astrology, because that's why astrology makes sense, because there's a spiritual component to it, you know. And the deeper you get into astrology, the more you start to realize that these Freemasons made a religion out of astrology. And it's not what you think, you know, it's not about worshiping stars or anything like that. It's about using the energetic signatures that are revealed within astrology to understand your position in the cosmos and your duty and responsibility to God, but more importantly, how to use these different energies to raise yourself to deity status, you know what I'm saying? Because that is the greatest worship you can give to God, becoming the greatest version of yourself. But it goes deep. But it's very Aquarian, you know what I'm saying? A religion like that, where it's all about synchronizing with nature and connecting with God, etc. Yeah. Open-mindedness is definitely a value and importance as well with Aquarius energy. Learn to study and acquire as much knowledge as possible is important, especially knowledge that is of the religious kind. When I say the religious kind, I don't completely mean like the indoctrination, that the dogma and the indoctrination of religion, but I more so mean that the Bible is a book you can decode, the Quran is a book you can decode, so is the Torah, and when you decode it, you get a completely different message, a message of the soul, you know, for the soul, to help the soul advance in its spiritual journey, you know what I'm saying? And so that's more where you should direct your focus on, learning more about life, philosophy, spirituality, etc. Now let's get into your 10th house. Okay. Before we get into your 10th house, let me just take a little break, a little water break, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so yeah, now to discuss the 10th house. The 10th house is the house of career. It is considered the MC. This house is the house of reputation as well. It signifies and helps you better understand how it is that you are perceived amongst your peers. Well, I'm just double checking to make sure that So, okay, I thought that, I thought that your 10th house was Aries, your 10th house is in Pisces. Okay, so when it comes to your 10th house being in Pisces, 10th house is the house of reputation, right? It deals with one's status, and it deals with, we kind of already discussed, but really that's all it deals with, pretty much. Status, reputation, career, how one is seen in the public eye, you know? Okay, so first and foremost, you have your 10th house in the sign of Pisces, indicating that the things that will surface to the public and gravitate attention to you are primarily those things that deal with sympathy, heart-related energies. So when it comes to Pisces is a Christ.
Innovative GE appliances.
Pisces is like a Christ-like energy, you know what I'm saying? Meaning that, right, and this is depicted by the fact that the symbol for Christianity is the fish, right? And Christianity began in the dawn of like the age of Pisces, you know. So yeah, Pisces is the negative aspects of Christ and the positive aspects of Christ. Meaning that positively, the selflessness of Christ, the awareness of the importance of universal community that, you know, Christ portrayed, are things that first and foremost are associated with Pisces, but things that you may also gain a reputation or recognition for. Maybe being very selfless, very caring, being self-sacrificial, possibly, you know, all that good stuff. Just maybe getting a reputation for being a caring and nurturing type of individual, you know. But at the same time, at the same time though, with Pisces being in the 10th house, and then Pisces' ruler, Jupiter, being in the 8th house in the sign of Aquarius. More so from the 8th, not the sign of Aquarius, but from the 8th energy. There can be this energy that manifests that may create this recognition around you, where it's like things from your past, because it's what the 8th house is all about, right? The 8th house is all about things from the past, and the 8th house is influencing the 10th house, because Jupiter is in the 8th house influencing your 10th house, just in Pisces. So maybe your reputation may be entangled with certain things that may be from your past, that may be harsh, that may be difficult, that may deal with things meaning death, to transform, release, let go of. Pisces, you know, is also a sign, most definitely, that deals with healing. So this right here, it could be like a nurse. I think you told me you wanted to be a nurse. Like, right, and we talked, like, the 10th house is the house of career. So that would be like a great career to pursue, some sort of career where it's like nursing and all that good stuff, you know what I'm saying? Taking care of people and all that good stuff. But at the same time though, you know, with you having that Aquarius energy, in general, anytime you're taking care of somebody, working with people, but then like, with you having your moon in the 10th house, right, and the 10th house being the house that deals with, not the house, but the moon. The moon being the house that deals with caring and nurturing, and then the 10th house being the house of career, right? That's another channel that may show that maybe getting into some form of like caregiving related work, you know, like, yeah, some sort of caregiving related work, and that would be complementary for your sun as well, sun in Virgo, you know, for sure. Yeah, so that's one thing. But anyways, like Pisces in the 10th house, because Pisces is the last sign, essentially with this, you really do have this ability to be whatever it is that you put your mind to, because Pisces is mutable water, right? Water is already, okay, Pisces is liquid water, because what the mutable element is. The cardinal element is gas, you know what I'm saying? So Cancer is like steam, you know, it's steamy, it's gas, evaporated water. Sagittarius is actually heat, you know, heat, yeah, rising up, heat. And then, yeah, anyways, Pisces is just liquid, it's just water, you know, Pisces is water in general. And the thing about water is memory, right? Water absorbs, and if you add a droplet of color to water, the water won't consume the color and turn it clear. But the water will take the quality of the thing that was dropped in it, you know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with the energy of Aquarius. So the key phrase for Aquarius is I believe, you know what I'm saying? It's all about believing. So essentially whatever you believe you can achieve. Whatever you put your mind to you can achieve. But typically these are the artists of the world, musicians, especially like vocalists. These are the healers of the world, surgeons, doctors of the world, you know what I'm saying? Pisces energy. These are the hippies of the world, to an extent, right? Because Pisces, when I say hippie, like very laid back and kumbaya type energy, you recognize for that, you know what I'm saying? Pisces, although the negative manifestation of the energy of Jupiter, being associated with Jupiter, Pisces in general is just optimistic, positive, willing to see that the cup is half full, but so aware that it's half empty. So it's more aware that it's half empty, but it has this willingness to see that it's full. You know what I'm saying? That's Pisces. So there can be like this heavy, bogged down, depressive energy that may be entangled with this Pisces energy, meaning that you know what? Meaning that, to sum it all up, meaning that whatever you believe is what you will manifest career-wise, reputation-wise, status-wise. Because the energy of Pisces is all about believing. And Pisces is associated with Neptune. Neptune is the planet, the most sensitive planet, the greatest planet of sensitivity. And that sensitivity is not simultaneously, instantaneously impressed upon the astral body. You know what I'm saying? So wherever Neptune is, its sensitivities automatically impress into the astral body, which is, in many words, your subconscious mind. And whatever you transform your subconscious mind into, you become, you manifest into reality. Right? I think so I am, or I am so I think, right? But yeah, okay, so next up for discussion is hold on, give me a sec. Next up for discussion is the 11th house. So when it comes to the 11th house is the house of, traditionally the 11th house is associated and connected to Aquarius. Well, you have your 11th house in Taurus. So the way that you have your chart set up, see, Aries belongs in the first house, but because you have Cancer in the first house, Cancer and Aries energy square each other. Aries is the self, the I, the me, the independent young man who doesn't have to worry about his responsibilities or anything like that. He can just be himself, he can just be him. Yeah, Cancer is the mother, right? You can even go as far as to say the teen mother whose dream was always to be a mother, really. And now she finally has her child, and all she wants to do is look over and look after her child. So there's kind of a conflicting of interest, you know what I'm saying, between Aries and Cancer, and that's why they square. Because Cancer wants to nurture and wants to take care of others. Yeah, Aries wants to make sure that they're straight first before they take care of another. So there's somewhat of a conflicting energy, right? And so the way that manifests is family comes before the individual, you know what I'm saying? And that's where the balance may need to happen. And if I'm not mistaken, I think in the last session, I didn't talk about your 6th house, but I'm gonna check, I'm gonna pull it up right now for you, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to make sure I talk about that as well before we conclude this. But anyways, as I was saying, though, the 11th house traditionally is associated with the sign Aquarius. The 11th house is the house, it's an association house. It's a house that deals with how you, not how you relate with people, but, yeah, actually, the 7th house, it deals with how you relate with people on a personal level. The 11th house deals with how you relate with strangers, people that you just met, you know what I'm saying? Also, the 11th house is a house of hopes and dreams. Okay. When it comes to the 11th house, okay, I have it. I had to
Okay.
Yes. But yeah, essentially, understanding Aquarius is a value to understanding this house. Understanding, yeah, that's it. Understanding Aquarius is a great value to understanding this house. Aquarius is a social sign, but it doesn't deal with personal connections. It deals with dealing with people in general, the public. When it comes to the 11th house, this is going to give you insight into your relationship with society. How it is that your energy merges with people in general, right? So, with you having 11th house in the sign of Aquarius, this would mean that you have your, I'm looking at your chart right now. Okay, so you have Aquarius in the 11th house, and that means that Venus is your 11th house ruler, and now you have Venus and Leo in the 2nd house. So when it comes to your affairs, your social life experiences, there's this Taurian Venetian 2nd house influence. And that all points towards material gain of some sort. That all point towards money, could be, right, I should say, money. So there is this energy possibly of having a tendency of running into people that always seem to either want to or do contribute greatly to your material comfort, your material security, you know what I'm saying? Now, Taurus is a sign that deals with, it's also reserved, right? It deals with kind of being to oneself. So Venus, the planet that rules Taurus, is actually a planet that deals with socialismness, right? It's a social planet. Yeah, Taurus is the feminine or the night expression of Venus, the nighttime of Venus, feminine side of Venus, you know what I'm saying? So Taurus doesn't so much deal with relation externally, but relation internally from the things outside of you. So the sound of music and it influencing you internally, food and it influencing you internally. So it's more about receiving social experiences, right? But then Libra is all about putting out social experiences, initiating relationships and all of that. But Taurus is all about focusing in on the human experience. Okay, that's what Taurus is all about. So Venus and Taurus, 11th house in Taurus energy. Taurus is a harmonious planet, right? It deals with harmony and practicalityness. So this can be an indication of socialismness being a great channel for you to attain harmony, right? Going out and meeting strangers and things like that, it could be a good source of attaining harmony. But especially going out to places that synchronize with the energy of Taurus. Salons is an example. Any beauty place is an example of energy synchronizes with the Taurus energy. Banks, a bank, right, is an example of a place that synchronizes with Taurus energy. So these are all places you can go to, that you can visit, you know what I'm saying? You can go to and you can visit to have wonderful experiences or compatible experiences. The best term to use here is harmonic experiences where social energy is concerned, right? Dressing up in beauty, for instance, dressing up beautifully, for instance, would be another thing that will attract to you friends, you know what I'm saying? Because that's another thing with Taurus. Taurus deals with not synthetic, not even sensual, but I'll say sensual. The other word I'm looking for is not WT. It deals with like aesthetic. That's the term. Not synthetic, aesthetic. Taurus deals with aesthetic things, right? So the feel of something, the look of something, the smell of something, the touch of something. Yeah, you know. And another thing where hopes and dreams are concerned with the 11th house, you may be a type who may want and hope for it doesn't have to be a lot of money, because Taurus doesn't care for a lot of money. Capricorn cares for a lot of money. Capricorn cares for status. That's why Capricorn is after money. Status and power, right? So Capricorn wants money. Taurus wants money for the reason of being comfortable and being secure and being safe. So Taurus doesn't need a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? You can just be comfortable and okay where it's at. And so, yeah, you know, so that's where your hopes may extend. They don't extend to, oh, I want to be filthy rich, but I want to make sure that I have enough to live comfortably, securely, and I can take care of my family, etc. You know what I'm saying? Which is more of a Taurus thing. I mean, which is more of a. And I was gonna say that acquiring success, like if there are certain aspects of you that desire to want to be really successful, which I, looking at your chart, would say there probably are, because you have that moon in the 10th house, right? The 10th house is success, reputation. In conclusion though, like, that's pretty much the 11th house, you know what I'm saying? So anytime you may find yourself, like, let's say unstable, call up a friend or something, you know, connect with someone, and it can be a stranger online, you know, because we're talking about the 11th house. Interesting. We have a trine, I see, between Uranus, am I right? No. Between Mars, Neptune, and the moon. Holy crap. I'm just now seeing this, but this is like kind of a big deal, you know what I'm saying? Fire. You know? Okay. Fire. So you have a grand trine in the fire element. Only that Neptune is 0 degrees Capricorn, so it's a cusp. But we'll talk about that when we get into talking about the aspects. You know, that's definitely very important. It's such a huge deal. You know what I'm saying? Such a oof. And then you have like your moon opposing Uranus. Your moon opposing your Pluto. Anyways, sorry, I kind of got sidetracked. But yeah, that pretty much is like the 11th house. Now to talk about your 12th house and to conclude by talking about your 6th house. I have the video pulled up, so then I can, you know, check to see where we left off. Okay. So, the 12th house. The 12th house is the house of, what is the 12th house? What is the 12th house? It's the, naturally the 12th house is connected to the sign Pisces. 12th house is the house of the unconscious mind. 12th, 8th, and 4th house are all psychic houses. They all deal with the unseen and the unknown, is what I'm saying. And the 12th house is the house of the spirit world. It's the last house, and it deals with transcendence. It deals with once you have, once you've left the world behind and have transcended into a greater energy, you know. It's interesting, but if you really think about it, it takes a group of things, it takes a group of spirits to make up one spirit, if that makes sense. A human being is a collection of spirits, because every cell is an individual with its own unique consciousness. But if that's too complex, think about it like the fact that every single human being, every single species on this earth creates the organism we call Earth. You know what I'm saying? That's just kind of how it works infinitely. And so every time a soul expands beyond its ego, meaning it kills its ego, like it no longer, it let goes of its identity, right? That's like me, okay, if I don't let go, to give an example of why you need to let go of the identity. That's like me, even after I die, still being infatuated with this world and not knowing anything beyond this world, anything beyond, this world, you know, and thus me being stuck, because all I can identify is with this world. And being afraid to let go because of the unknowingness, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, in moving up from one thing to another, it's like, it's kind of like you have to merge with something else to become one thing, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's kind of like how an egg, sperm, the fuck? A sperm, a germ, what am I saying? An egg. It's kind of like how an egg and a sperm. Oh my fucking god. Okay, yeah. It's kind of how like an egg and a sperm join together, right? Two things come together to make one thing. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with us. And that's kind of why we all have this deep yearning to connect with another person, because it's not that physically we're gonna merge, but it's like spiritually, when you find your person, quote unquote, but in order for you to find your person, you have to evolve, right? It's like once you have evolved and you're ready for a greater vessel, then you attract that other aspect of you, and then you become something else. You know what I'm saying? You transform and you grow beyond your ego, right? Like when you meet someone and you're in love with them, your ego kind of starts to deteriorate to an extent. You know what I'm saying? There's healthy ego and there's bad ego, but you start to be more anchored in your heart than your brain. You start to be more loving and caring, you know what I'm saying? That's what that 12th house energy is all about. It is about caring, it is about loving and all that, but the reason why I brought all that up was to bring up the fact that the transcendental energy of releasing of this individual and embracing a greater collective, right? Whether that's 2 or 3 or whatever. So, the 12th house, although I just talked about all these wonderful things about it and how it's spiritual, it unfortunately does have its negative attribute and negative quality. And that negative attribute and negative quality dwells in the fact that the 12th house is the house of like sorrow and baggage, you know what I'm saying? It's interesting how that duality manifests. It's okay. Being a psychic house and a spiritual house, it's kind of like this. If you work on it, then you will gain good from it. But if you are oblivious and unconscious of it, then you will get bad, you know, from it. If that makes sense. It's kind of the same with the Pisces energy as well. You know what I'm saying? Give me a sec while I check. Okay, so. So, as far as the 12th house is concerned, hold on, I'm so sorry, but I'm just gonna call someone real quick, because they just messaged me about some things. Should have checked earlier, but anyways, this is the house of one's undoing as well, you know what I'm saying? It's a dual house, as Pisces is a dual sign as well. On one hand, this is the house of one. This is like the house of undoing. Hold on, let me make sure that I have your chart. Yeah, it is the house of undoing. And when I say undoing, I mean self-sabotage, right? It can help us understand ways that we self-sabotage. So first and foremost, the 12th house is, your 12th house is Gemini. Gemini is a sign that points towards the mind, you know what I'm saying? And it points towards the thoughts, I think, is the key phrase for Gemini. So I say that to say that it's important for you to sorry, I just have to, because I was supposed to meet with someone earlier. I was not aware of the message. Okay, so as I was saying though, the 12th house, this is a house of, we already talked about all that it is. So first and foremost, overthinking is something that you may need to learn to put a handle